What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Off the Mic Sports Network. Over the last several days, I went through every single division in the NFL and told you how I thought they would finish, order of placing and whatnot. I kind of gave away some playoff teams, but now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna name you all seven playoff teams in each conference, and then I'm gonna tell you the conference championship game in each one, and then the Super Bowl, and then ultimately who wins it here in 2025 with the season getting ready to get underway with the Cowboys and Eagles on Thursday night. So, um, let's run through the division winners here in the AFC first by process of elimination, and then I'm just going to pick three teams out really out of a hat and tell you who I think is going to be finishing. I won't give you guys the order of appearance. I'm just going to pick seven playoff teams here, and we'll kind of cross the bridge when we get there. So I'm going to take Buffalo to win the East. I'm going to take the Ravens to win the North. I'm going to take the Texans to win the South. And I'm going to take the Chargers. It seems like conventional wisdom is that Denver is going to win the West, but I'm going to take the Chargers to win the West. I said that on my show. So those are my four division winners. I've got the Bills, the Ravens, the Houston Texans, and then the LA Chargers. Then I'm going to take Kansas City and Denver to ultimately be other playoff teams in this round. And I'm gonna, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna take Cincinnati. I'm gonna take Cincinnati here to get in. They're just too talented. I think by process of elimination, you could probably pick another seven team. This is what happens when you let basically almost half the league into the playoffs. So, summarizing this on the AFC side, I've got the Bills, I've got the Ravens and the Bengals, I've got the Texans, and then I've got three teams from the West: Denver, Chargers, and Chiefs. And then in the NFC, Eagles win the NFC East. I've got the Packers winning the NFC North. I'll take Tampa to win the South, and then I'll take San Francisco to win the West. And then let's just run through this really quickly in terms of extra playoff teams. I'm going to take Detroit, Chicago, and Washington. I'm going to take Detroit, Chicago, and Washington, not in any particular order. I will take Detroit, Chicago, and Washington. I'm high on Caleb Williams. I'm high on so I'll take two teams from the so I'll take three teams from the North: Detroit, Chicago, and Green Bay, and then Washington, two teams from the NFC East, and then Tampa, and then San Francisco. And I thought about the Rams here, but I'm a little on the fence about Matthew Stafford ultimately and his health. And if he gets hurt, they're screwed. Like, it's for your season to be totally hit contingent on your quarterback who's got back issues. Like I said, my wild card in this whole thing is going to be Chicago. Watch it blow up in my face. And then, okay, I'm going to take the Bills over the Ravens in the AFC Championship. I will take the Bills over the Ravens. This will be the first time, it seems like in about 7 years, it seems like, because I think Kansas City has been to every championship game. I think it was like 2018, I think. Like, it's incredible. Since Patrick Mahomes got into the league and started starting NFL games, they have not missed a conference title game. They have not missed, and the only conference title game that they lost was to Cincinnati when they imploded in the second half. So I think I think Kansas City's due for a letdown. I don't have them winning the West either. So, but I'm going to take Buffalo to go back to the Super Bowl. They haven't been back, since the 90s. So that'd be good for Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen, listen, there's a good argument that whoever wins the AFC Championship could win the Super Bowl. And then we've got Philadelphia. I'm going to have Philadelphia and Green Bay in the NFC Championship game, and I'm going to take the Packers to ultimately advance over the Eagles. I could see that one going either way as well, but those to me are the two best teams in the NFC. So, process of the elimination, you've got one franchise who's been to a lot of Super Bowls and won some, and then you've got a franchise who's been to a lot of Super Bowls and never won one. I'm going to take the one that has never won a Super Bowl, and I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills to win not only the AFC and win the Super Bowl. If not now, when for the Buffalo Bills? To me, it comes down to um it just comes down to me. I think Buffalo is just ready to make that next leap. And I just saw they signed, Gabe Davis coming off of an injury. Gabe Davis had some of his best years um in um in Buffalo when he was there. Remember that 4 touchdown game against Kansas City, and I think it was that incredible division game that was just back and forth, one of the best playoff games that I've ever seen. But to me, this is the opportunity for them, for Buffalo to break through. If they're not going to do it now, I just don't know when they're going to win this Super Bowl with Josh Allen. Same thing goes with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. I think that whoever wins the AFC is going to win the Super Bowl this year. I think that this is going to be. Look, I understand that Philadelphia is probably the best roster in the NFL, but it's just something about this team. Even with all the talent, there's been some, stuff in the offseason, off the field, some Saquon Barkley, Trump stuff. There's been a lot of conversation about Jalen Hurts, and let me be clear. I hope Jalen Hurts does really well, because he's on my fantasy team. I hope Jalen Hurts does very well, enough to get me a fantasy football championship in 2025. And hey, James Cook, go get some touchdowns too. You can figure out the whole thing there, guys. So, but yeah, my rationale here is we got to go with something different here. And listen, I think that you can say what you will about Micah Parsons. I think that was a win now move. They draft a they never draft wide receivers in the first round. So Matthew Golden's got to pop. You got Josh Jacobs in the backfield. Defensive guys all over the place, young, talented dudes. Like, to me, this is for Green Bay. This has got to be one of those years where they got to do something, because when you make a move like they did to get Micah Parsons, I mean, I understand it's a 4-year contract and he's only 26 years old. They're going for this now, and they're going for this for the future. So their window is open now. And to me, like I said, my rationale is you got to differentiate this up a little bit. It could be almost easy for me to do Kansas City and Philadelphia again, but I feel like that's a cop out. That's not any fun. So, in terms of, MVP, I'm gonna listen. This is hard for me to narrow down who's gonna win the MVP of the NFL, because to me it really comes down to some people will throw out Jaden Daniels as a wild card, as opposed to the traditional options of Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. You could go off the board potentially, and you could go after like a Saquon Barkley. Hey, if you're big into Dallas, Dak Prescott, Baker Mayfield with Tampa Bay, San Francisco, Christian McCaffrey could be an opportunity. I'm going to take the easy route here, and I'm going to say Lamar Jackson wins the MVP. I'm done hating this guy. I mean, I'll hate him because he's a Baltimore Raven, and I hate the Ravens to death because of, what they symbolize to me. They're the Cleveland Browns, and they've won 2 Super Bowls since they moved there. And Lamar Jackson, I've wanted to hate this guy for so long because he's the Ravens quarterback. He's got a kind of a style that really is not traditional. And, like I said, just the Ravens kind of things enhances me. But I'm kind of starting to see him like Steph Curry in a way, because he's kind of, done something in the NFL that doesn't traditionally happen. A really running quarterback with not a really, big time build, who's been able to kind of outlast a lot of the health questions. And he's had some health issues in his career, but this guy just continues to just blow people away. He had maybe his best season last year, and the only reason he didn't win the MVP, some people will say racism. I think that's bullshit. Some people, I think it was just, not recency, but it was fatigue. They were tired of giving this guy has been the most exceptional athlete in the NFL pretty much since the minute that he got there. He does things on the football field that nobody does. So at this point, like I said, to me, like Patrick Mahomes is at the point of his career where he doesn't need to be exceptional to win the MVP. But that being said, I could totally see a redemption arc type of deal for him. So, Yeah, I think the MVP of the league is gonna be Lamar Jackson. And again, like I said, the big takeaway from this video, if you want to know anything, whoever wins the AFC, and to me, it really comes down to, I think, three teams in the AFC that realistically have a shot of winning the conference. It's Baltimore, it's Buffalo, and it's Kansas City. Even though Kansas City, I don't think is going to win their division, because I'll say this again: it does not matter if Kansas City does not win their division. We saw this 2 years ago when they won the Super Bowl. They were what, third in the they had to win 2 road games to get to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. So to me, I don't think it matters. If Kansas City gets into the playoffs, they're going to be in the mix to go to the Super Bowl. Those are the only 3 teams that I think can win the AFC, and I think whoever gets out of that is going to win the Super Bowl in 2025. It's not going to be Philadelphia. It's not going to be Green Bay. The NFC is not winning the Super Bowl this year. That's my takeaway from this whole thing. Thanks to everybody who supported all the videos about the AFC preview. We'll have predictions for week 1. We're going to have games on Thursday. We're going to have a game on Friday on YouTube, which is going to be interesting. So, hey, I guess I should promote the YouTube game because I'm a YouTube partner technically. So there's that. And then, obviously we'll have games Sunday and Monday. So we'll be looking forward to that here on the channel. We're going to have some Browns thoughts here because I got a story for you guys on Johnny Manziel saying some other shit on this channel. So we'll talk about that and even more wrestling stuff because there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in professional wrestling. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.